Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Microsoft. Ooh, that was funny. Microsoft Flight Simulator, and welcome to the Piper Arrow. The PA-28, in this case the Turbo Arrow, is what we're going to be looking at both in the conventional and the T-tail configuration. We'll get to the T-tail in just a bit, but in the meantime we're going to go ahead and start with the conventional tail. And we're going to run through our normal procedures, getting the aircraft up in the air. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and look at textures, listen to the sounds inside of the aircraft, and then we'll take that flight. So without further ado, let's begin. Alright, and as always, getting started straight away with textures. I did move the aircraft to a more sun-prone location so we can really see how the aircraft looks under good lighting and under the shade. But all in all, let me actually go inside here and reopen the stuff I had opened. Flight Sim, what's going on with that, huh? How about you open that door? And my hamburger one. It is open. It's open here. Are you? Okay, it is open. Anyway, get started with textures. It's okay. It's definitely not bad. I've definitely seen worse texturing from the get-go, but this definitely could use some improvement. It looks really kind of lackluster, especially when you look at some of the hardware around the cowl and around the wings. All that kind of stuff is missing a lot of detail, but then you have really good detail on certain text. So just the contrast between the detail on the text and the lack of detail on the riveting and on the screws, the quarter turns, the Zerk fittings, whatever have you, kind of lackluster. It's a similar story with the lighting package. The interior lighting looks very good. On the outside, the strobe light looks good. The landing light is adequate. Everything else is either falling short or non-existent. We'll look at that in a second. I, for the life of me, cannot get the beacon light on the aircraft to turn on. You'll have to let me know if it's something I'm doing wrong. We'll go over that in just a bit, but we'll keep our external walk around going here first and foremost. Slow down the drone camera. That's better. Same thing with that centering spring there. Just kind of just a meh sort of texture. The Hartzell logo on this three-bladed constant speed Hartzell prop is I don't know, just not up to scratch, especially when you consider all the other texturing around it. Nose gear's looking okay. Again, it's a contrast of details. So you've got really good detail on the actual nose wheel, but that center hub, what I'm assuming is a castellated lock nut that you'd throw like a piece of safety wire through, is not. Really good detail on the actual strut. Decent reflection on the oleo. It looks like you actually might be able to see up into the engine bay under different lighting conditions. So that all looks pretty good, actually. Really good attention to detail in some places, just not others. And I think that's going to be, unfortunately, the repeating factor here in this aircraft. Relatively good detail on the mesh, but look at the screws around it. You can see, they added a little smoking effect to the riveting, but it's a 2D texture that just flows in with the wing. Not cool in my opinion. The seam line for the wings, again, in contrast to that stall strip, it's I would, like with many aircraft that we've seen in this kind of category, I would rather have a general lower quality aircraft overall for a lower price versus, I think this was $30. You do get two aircraft, technically speaking, or $30 for an aircraft that's really good in some places, okay in others, and then kind of poor in others as well. So really good detail on the tie downs there. I like that. Let's take a look at our control surfaces here, see what we've got going on inside of Mr. Aileron, if anything. Can't really see much. Let's go down. Yeah, can't quite tell. Could just be poorish lighting, but I would imagine, like we saw with a nose gear well, that you would have some sort of Oh, that looks pretty nice there, huh? It's just good lighting, though. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything inside of the, yeah, it is just a black void, if you will, inside of the flaps. Manually actuated flaps on the PA-28. Yeah, I mean, look at that static port. You can see a reflection from something else. It looks almost like a, I don't know, I could just be seeing shapes here, but this almost looks like there's a, A1 or Alpha 1 style Humvee over here, and then something else. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Overall, the textures are not the best, but don't be swayed yet. The aircraft does fly really good, so we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But all in all, I think the textures could use a bit of a refresh to stay competitive in today's very, very, very competitive world of flight simulation. Let's go back in the cockpit here, and I'm going to turn on or open the oil fill. Maybe. There we go. Aircraft. Let's go oil door and baggage door. Yeah, and I guess we'll take a look at the chocks and tie downs and that sort of stuff too. So you can see we've got a animated oil filler. Again, not really seeing anything inside of there. I'm guessing it's a similar story as to the flaps. We didn't do the sample engine test. Whose channel is this? Alright, patented sample engine through test. Alright, we're going into some baffling here. And we're getting and straight into the cockpit. Okay, so that's an F in the sample engine test. I do like the, I think those are heat lines running into the cockpit from the, from a shroud around the exhaust, if I remember correctly, on the PA-28. So, it's a fail of the sample engine test. Tie downs look pretty good. Maybe not, actually. Getting a little closer. I mean, from a distance, they look okay. So, there's a rear spot. I've worked on, not the PA-28, but the, what's the twin engine variant of this aircraft? Apache? Someone will have to tell me. What's the twin engine variant? It's basically the same airplane, except it's got twins, one engine on each wing. Anyway, Archer? I don't know. But that's enough of a look around the outside. We'll hop inside of the cockpit here. We'll take a quick look through the baggage area. I don't think there's anything of note back here. No, there isn't. Just some more low textures inside. So we'll hop inside of the cockpit, take a look at textures inside of there, and then get her started up and get her going here. Alright, and tucked inside of the cabin of the PA-28, we'll actually, let's take a look at the EFB first, because we just got a glance at that. This is actually a very nice EFB. I like it very much. You can do OFPs if you have that enabled. Same thing with Navigraph charts if you have those. There's a baked-in new moving map. I think this is a open topography overlay. Yeah, it's right there at the bottom. OpenTopoMap.com. And I just broke it. How about that? All right. Very nice. The aircraft tab, that's where we just were. So you can keep an eye on your oil. You can refill it. You can recharge your battery should you need to. There's different warnings you can enable or disable. This aircraft does feature state saving, which I love, except when Flight Sim crashes desktop. But other than that, I love it. You can hide and unhide the yokes via the EFB, or you can just click on their spots there to hide and unhide them. You can see we've got clickable circuit breakers to pop each one of those in and out. So should we so choose? So settings tab, you can adjust and lower your brightness, change your theme. You can go and do a full white setting if you're a psychopath. There's a black, a gray, and then this blue that I have. Who doesn't love blue? You can do calculations. There's a full checklist to run through here, or a full series of checklists to run through. There's pre-flights. So that's really, really nice to see if you're unfamiliar with the aircraft. There's a notes tab, so you can go in here and enter your note. Please subscribe. There we go. So you can add your notes. Oh yeah, I forget this breaks it sometimes, so we'll turn off the tablet while you're subscribing, obviously. Alrighty then, on to the rest of the... Oh, the whole sim's frozen. I froze the whole sim. It's stuck in the EFB. I can't... The rest of the sim isn't responding with the EFB is. Someone please help. Are you good now? Okay, that's what it was. I was stuck in the typing window. Lighting. Let's talk external lighting first because I had a lot to say about that. So we'll go master battery on and we'll turn on all of our external lights. Did I turn on the alternator? Battery. Hello? Yeah, I guess recharge the battery, please. What's going on? Hello? I didn't... Be right back. Okay, so we went ahead and did a quick refresh here. We're now in Germany, actually, hence our Delta prefix on the tail there. We'll continue our look around the cockpit now. So let's go ahead and get power on. We'll take a look at those lights that I was talking about before. So we'll do landing, beacon, and strobe. And you can see the navigation light just leaves a lot to be desired. The strobe light is pretty good. I'll give it that, especially reflections. You can see it on the side of the building there as well as on the ground on the left side of the aircraft. The beacon does nothing. The tail nav light does nothing on this variant. The tail nav light does light up on the other variant, but it doesn't seem to do anything. Or doesn't seem to do anything. Isn't the diameter it should be. And then, like I mentioned before, the nose gear landing light it's fine. There's really nothing wrong with it. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and run through a startup here. I'm going to go ahead and close the door, hit latches number 1 and 2. Make sure we're nicely nestled in. Get the GPS warming up while we're in startup here. We'll go ahead and close our hamburger window, set our ELT to arm. Let's check fuel status. Looks like the right tank's got a little more fuel, so we will select, we already have the right tank selected. Good. Prop to the full condition. And mind you, I'm not following the checklist here. I'm just Ramboing my way through this. We're going to need to prime, so we'll go fuel pump low. Add fuel, good pressure. Prime, 2, 3. Crack our throttle just a hair. We should be good to clear prop arc here. Yell out the window, get a little clear prop. We're not doing any FS realistic, just simply because this aircraft doesn't need it, if I'm being honest with you. And we'll look more into that momentarily, but let's go ahead and get a startup. And good startup. So I will say the sounds in the aircraft are very, very good. And I'm realizing now we didn't do a cockpit internal sound demo yet. In fact, let's do that now. We'll charge up the engine just a little bit since we did just start. Do I have a voltmeter? There's amps, oil temp, oil pressure, fuel pressure, and fuel. You know, we don't. So let's go ahead and shut back down. Okay. So now we'll take a quick listen around the cockpit for all those little sounds and squeaks that we love. I forgot to feather the prop. We'll fix that momentarily. But this is the part where I shut up and I turn up the sim. Let you guys take a listen. So let's do that. So all in all, I do think the Just Flight PA-28 is a very good job with sound design. I'm definitely a fan of it. But yeah, now we'll go ahead and just run through a quick startup here real quick since we already ran through the proper procedures. Shouldn't need to prime this time around. Should just be a quick and easy startup. There we go. As far as lighting options, we are pretty limited. We've got 2 wheels, which I think this is accurate to the actual PA-28. I don't understand why it's done this way, but this knob here on the right controls your lighting on the panel on the left, and the knob on the left controls the lighting for your center and right-hand panel. It makes no sense to me, but that is... I'm fairly certain that's accurate to the aircraft. And then obviously we have our overhead dome. So panel as it is. I think it's good once you're zoomed in like this. It's okay. It's not great. A little bit of tessellation on the artificial horizon. Another thing I want to point out here while we're pulling up to the ramp, or to our hold short, is the really good sound design as you cross the arc of the prop. So if we come around to the front of the aircraft here, you hear how the aircraft sounds? And then as we cross the prop arc, you get the much lower tones. Just like you would on a real, any GA airplane. I was going to say just like on a real PA-28, but any aircraft. So good marks on Just Flight for that. All right, let's do our run-up. It's going to take me a little bit to get the RPMs nice and stabilized out. It is a little bit touchy. I think right about there is going to be good. We'll make sure the RPM stabilizes. So yeah, we're just a little bit low. That's fine. Let's do left. Waiting. Still coming down. Still coming down. What are we looking for? A 30 drop? So 10, 20... Right around there. This looks like a 25-ish drop. Are we going to stabilize, Mr. Needle? Yeah, right around there. So get back to both. Let RPMs come back up. Boy, wouldn't it have been funny if I had forgot the park brake? I've never done that before. Looks like we lost a little bit of manifold pressure. I'm not sure if that's my doing or if it's my hardware. Alright, and to the right mags. Takes a while to drop off, which is interesting. So, for those of you who don't know, the reason we do mag checks in airplanes is they have a dual magneto system. And a magneto is effectively a distributor cap for those of you in the older aviation world, or spark plugs for those of you used to more modern vehicles. Airplanes in a lot of cases have redundancy on all of their systems for safety. So in the event that you lose one set of magnetos, you still have another set to rely on to safely operate. Ooh, it is a little bit chilly this morning. We'll have to keep an eye on the outside air temperature. Also, they have different interior colors, in case you haven't noticed, depending on the paint scheme you pick. But that's why we do a magneto check, is to make sure both of our magnetos are working as intended. Alright, lined up. Let's go fly. Looks like winds are pretty gentle and docile looking at the windsock over there. I did, however, forget to recenter my nose wheel steering. Alright, at 40 on the manifold pressure. RPMs are sounding good, looking good on the gauge as well. We'll roll back just a hair. Airspeed's alive, up at 80 knots. Let's pull back. Real gentle like. And just like that, we're airborne. Touch the brakes, gear coming up. Start relaxing on the rudder. And we'll come out right. Taking a look outside. The Piper PA-28. Shut your mouth. I'm not American Airlines anymore.
Potterborn Tower, American 170 tree. Continue for east departure.
Yeah, I forgot to turn that off. Let's do that now. I am still hand flying, so we want to be a little bit careful. Let's get her nice and trimmed out here. Relatively short flight today. Last flight I flew was my PMDG 737 has American Airlines. That's why I've got that call sign. So now we shouldn't hear him anymore. And just in case we do, we'll turn down the radius. Alright, so now we will go ahead and ditch the yoke, because I do need to keep a decent eye on that prop gauge as well as the fuel and RPMs. Prop gauge. The RPMs as well as fuel and manifold pressure is what I meant to say. Start coming back left. What is our... Oh, we don't have an ETE. That's interesting. Very nice German countryside mixed with the cityscape down below. And again,
American
all of it.
170
Dude,
leaving my airspace
go
frequency
away.
change approved.
Okay. Go away, please.
Potterborn Tower, American 170 tree frequency
Nope.
change.
Anyway, now that we're done with ATC. Like I mentioned before, we are doing this flight solely on the pure aircraft. We are not using FS realistic, though it might seem and sound like it. All of the wind sounds that you're hearing, the buffeting that you're seeing, and the touchdown sounds you'll hear. Oh, I forgot to show you guys the sound of the skidding. We'll take a look at that maybe when we hop into the T-tail. They're all native to the airplane, which is a huge, huge plus. I would love to see more of that. Just because it doesn't really exist in a large part in a lot of aircraft, so. We'll do a little overview of the handling characteristics here. I suppose we've got enough altitude under our wings. Then we'll continue to our destination airport. I'll do that off camera, then once we're getting close for an approach, we'll resume. Let's see, what's our current altitude? 3,700. That's probably enough to recover from some aerobatic maneuvers. So first and foremost, we'll get the ham-fisted flying out of the way. We'll go hard left, aileron, then hard right. Hard left, hard right. This aircraft is not certified for aerobatic maneuvers. That sucks. We're going to do some anyway. Nice little snap aileron roll there. We'll do the same thing back to the right. Coming in through the caution range, not exceeding our VFE. Now the real question, let's get trimmed real negative here. Can we sustain inverted flight? Probably should have turned on the fuel pump. Vertical speed indicator says no. It's not too bad though. I don't think I'd recommend knife edging or anything like that. Give it a try here. Where's my manifold pressure? We're right on the limit. For a little bit more propeller. Alright, here we go. A little bit positive pull. Ready, and push. Yeah, no, not happening. Full left rudder, and we're just falling to the ground here. So, all in all, it's a very nice airplane to fly. Feels realistic. Responds well. We'll get into a stall pattern here. I need to stay above 15 inches on the manifold, otherwise my gear a lot will drop. That's my auto extension. There's 10 degrees. Keep her nice and level. Keep coordinated. You can hear the airflow slowing down around the airframe. And soon we'll probably start to hear some buffeting. I am full back on the stick right now. Add some trim. Here's the buffet and the stall horn. Despite this being a low wing, it still has a lot of dihedral. If you look at the profile of the wing, so it is inherently stable even in a stall condition. So basically what will end up happening if we just go full aft on the yoke here, the aircraft will slowly just nose itself back down. Like that. And we'll gain a little bit more airspeed, pull real hard into the vertical this time. Let's see if we can't get ourselves into some trouble. So we did have a little bit of a tip stall, but nothing dramatic. At least I wouldn't say anything terribly dramatic. Doing this while trying to somewhat follow our flight line there. Let's get retrimmed out. That is something I really like about this airplane that reminds me of my days flying in GA, is you are pretty consistently making really, really fine adjustments to trim if you are electing to hand fly, which, oh, I didn't mean it, I didn't mean it, I didn't mean it, I didn't mean it, take me back, take me back, what did I do, what did I do, oh god, that was terrifying. But you are consistently trimming out the airplane as you fly. Okay, let's go for the full-on Rambo, I don't know what I'm doing, flight profile. Real big pitch up, huge pitch up. Not watching the attitude indicator. Yeah, I mean, just a relatively docile airplane to fly. I mean, you can get yourself in trouble for sure, but it's not much you just can't recover out of. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and set the autopilot on a GPS hold. Let the airplane take us the rest of the way to where we're headed. And I will catch up with you guys once we are a lot closer. I guess we're only actually about 10 miles out now, but it's 10 miles less that you guys will have to sit on board for this. So I will catch up with you guys once we are on approach for our final. Take a look at the landing, and then we'll take a quick look around the T-tail variant, what it adds, what it subtracts, and its handling characteristics. So I will see you guys then. Alrighty, visual on our arrival runway down below. Looks like it's going to be a pretty nasty crosswind, just ever so slightly favoring runway 04. So we'll go ahead and drop gear. Gear speed on this aircraft is 129 knots, so we're obviously below that. And then as we come into the prop, or into the flap arc at 108 knots, we will drop flaps, but we're 3 green now, so we'll go ahead and reduce manifold pressure to idle. Come out just a little bit more to the right. Extend just a little bit to give ourselves some more room. And we'll start trimming, start trimming, start trimming. Keep visual on those power lines as well. And we'll do a steep turn here. Get lined up for final. Start dropping our flaps. And we should come out just a bit right of the runway here. Keep trimming. We'll add a little bit of power in. I've lost the field. Looking on the GPS. Visual. Keep trimming here. Trim for our flap setting. It's just like trees, 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 and then there's a hole where our field is at. Man, tell me that's not a 50-foot obstacle. But getting out of here sure would be interesting. Getting in should be a minimal issue. Just skimming the treetops. Alright. Weaving, bobbing, and ducking. I love the added buffeting. There's left and right. You can hear the nose touch down. You can also vaguely, possibly make out our brakes as well. Alright, flaps coming in. This is a narrow taxiway. Very narrow. Oh, look at that. The wind died down. Shifted and died down. But we got in no problem either way. Let's see where a good spot to get turned in here is. Oh, look at the little R22. We're going to come over by the tower. So that's your conventional tail PA-28. We'll get parked up and shut down here and then take a look at the T-tail variant. And good morning from Dunsfold in the United Kingdom. We are in the T-tail variant of the PA-28. Hello, frame rate. And we're going to take a look at what's different about it. We're going to just do a simple pattern around Dunsfold. What's the wind doing? So I guess we'll take off down what actually is part of the top gear test track. But that's okay. One other thing I wanted to showcase is you have different options for the radio stacks. So this is the default radio stack. Comes with a Garmin GPS 100 and a twin radio stack, COM1, COM2. You can throw in the dual GNS system here with a GTN 550 and a, what is this, a 430? Oh, it's right there. 430? I think that says 430. You can have the single stack 530 like I have or had before with the standalone comm radio, or obviously there is the option for the PMS GTN 750, and I would imagine if you have the 750 XI package as well that you can rock that. So we'll run the GTN 750 this time around. Go ahead and turn off that tablet, and then we'll whistle stop through the startup here since we already know what we're doing from the last video. Let's go fuel to the... I guess I need battery power. Yeah, fuel grab, left-hand side. Prop can come out of feather. Let's see here. Low fuel pump. Good pressure. Prime, 2, 3, 4. All right, prime's off. Crack the throttle. Get a good old clear prop. One more. Oh, I forgot to turn my mixture off. Whatever, she's still fired. All right, and alternator on. We are now charging. Very good, very good. All right. So that's the startup complete. Got an annunciator light. What is that for? Aux fuel on. That's fine. Turn you off. Alright. We will taxi down to the far end of the runway. That should give oil temp enough time to come up. Fuel pressure's good. Oil pressure's marginally green. Temperature outside, we are still warm enough. We don't need pitot heat. So looking at our center stack here, you can see I'm missing my rotating beacon. That's because on the T-tail, there's no spot for a beacon. So you do have the same navigation and strobe package as before. In addition to that, you add a twin set of tail, or I should say an additional tail navigation light up at the top. There's one at the bottom. Like I was saying before, though, on the conventional tail variant, I can't get these to work. So this might be the go-to option for me right now. I don't know if it's another mod I have conflicting with it or what's going on, but Nonetheless, we'll get taxied out here. Gotta check my trim. This being a constant state airplane, I'm hoping it'll be pretty well set. So while we're back taxiing here, this will give me a chance to let you guys listen to that tire screech I was talking about. So if I got a hard left rudder, can you kind of hear the tire screech, for lack of a better term? Let's get a little bit more speed under the wings here. And hard right. There you go. Ah, how's that? I love that. Again, all default in the sim. You can kind of hear it inside too, so that's how you know you're overstressing something somewhere. Alrighty, let's we'll preemptively drop our visors. The visors do articulate up and down. There is no left to right movement as far as I have ascertained, so just a thing to note that might be accurate to the PA-28. Let's do a simple pattern here in the T-tail. Watch that manifold pressure. Is that an F-18 over there? It is. Jolly Rogers. Oh, more than enough airspeed under the wings now. Let's start pulling back, pulling back. Tap of the gear. Or tap of the brakes. Up, cup of the gear. There you go. Top Gear Studio in the background. You, Jessica. I think that's the name of that song. I don't want to sing it here because it'll get claimed. Oh, you can even see the, not the hammerhead, the follow-through. Well, I haven't watched conventional Top Gear in a while, so, conventional Top Gear. I haven't watched the UK, I haven't watched any Top Gear in a while, actually. Well, since, there was that whole fracas with Jeremy Clarkson. Grand Tour or die, am I right? Unless you're not interested in cars, in which case you have no idea what I'm talking about, which is fine. Get a little bit of altitude here. We'll do one stall test. The T-tail, I want to see if I can blank out the T-tail with the wings and lose that aerodynamic authority, and then we'll bring it in and call it a day. Very hazy, low-level fog UK morning. Alright, should be good enough here. We got about 2,500 feet of altitude. Let's start raising that nose. Real high. Real high, I said. Nah, it's still pretty stable. Even at this higher angle of attack, it's pretty stable. Pulled power back too much, my gear automatically dropped. Yeah, even when you're not gentle on the controls, it flies very, very docile. Very forgiving airplane, all in all. Let's bring her home safe. Let's go ahead and drop gear. flap range. Hard idle. Looking for the runway. It is. Start trimming for our flap setting. Add a little power. On runway 25 at Dunsfield Aerodrome. I think they do use this side of the field still for helicopter ops. Here we go. Oh, a little smoke trail from the nose gear too. Really, really good sound model on this airplane. Really blown away by how good the sound model is. So that is the Just Flight Hybrid PA-28. What do you guys think? I think it's definitely a keeper. Refly for me. I definitely foresee myself getting some long hours on this airplane despite its texture issues. I mean, right now it looks great. Look at that. That looks dang amazing. So, no harm, no foul on my end. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys very much for watching. I will see you in the next one. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend and or start to your week, depending on your job field of choice. And I'll see you next week. As always, take it easy.